not everything can be known, but not everything is unknown.
People have tried to make my life a living hell. They've tried to make sure that I can't make a living. They've tried to make sure that I can't live.
Hello, it's September 2025. Now this video is inspired by a recent request from someone I was talking to, but I've had requests over the years about this topic, and I've had this discussion with many people over many years, decades. And I guess people think that this is something that's worth sharing. Now, what I'm going to be talking about is going to be dealing with spiritual or perhaps even woo-woo. So if you're not into this kind of thing, don't watch this video. Go watch something else. And if you're easily triggered, again, go watch something else. And I'm doing this video reluctantly as a descriptive because this is going against what religions and belief systems have been telling people for a very long time. And a lot of people are not going to want to accept this because reality is a harder pill to swallow than some fantasy or romanticization of who they are or the human species is overall. Now, I'm going to be using a descriptive that I think best explains what I'm about to talk about. And it has to do with how people have been told that they're energy beings, some angelic, electric, mist-like being within a flesh and blood body. And the best way I can describe this as, using an analogy, is the human species of creation are flesh and blood. There's no being existing prior. Here's the first time. Now, right off the top, most of people are going to be like, nope, click off, well, goodbye. That's, don't let the door hit you in the butt on the way out. But flesh and blood. And when you look at, for example, the brain activities, there are electrical impulses and stuff going on. And what happens after the life here, for those who, for example, are successfully vetted by the Most High, they're transferred into a new body. So the analogy I'm going to use, it's like having a computer and you have the hard drive and all the information's on that hard drive, but the computer itself, maybe the motherboard or something, has become defective, no longer useful, doesn't work. So you take the information from that hard drive and you transfer it over to a new computer, a new hard drive. And we have in the hard drive, for example, electrical things going on in the patterns to create the information. And that those patterns are transferred so the electrical process continues in the new computer. So you're basically taking a data transfer from one to another. And where this whole misunderstanding, I guess we can call it, about being electrical beings and everything else, comes from that. The human species of creation was created flesh and blood. They don't turn into another species of creation like angelics or anything. They exist in flesh and blood, in the world that the type of world that we see around us. And that data transfer to be used in a new system is where people have confused. Because if you turn off the power, for example, to the computer, there's nothing happening inside. And I'm going to go off on a tangent when people talk about hell and everything else. Like, you know, there's going to be people burning in hell and everything. Those who are not successfully vetted have eternal death, meaning they don't exist. They basically erased. The information on that hard drive doesn't get transferred anywhere. Now, does that mean that it couldn't be? I don't know. I'm just saying that's eternal death. Hell itself is reserved for the species of creation that were meant to be eternal, like a promise given by the Most High that they'll be eternal. Okay? Promise fulfilled, but the ones who, as a descriptive, have not successfully vetted because they've done very bad things and so forth, they have an eternal punishment. And some of the human species of creation, some, for whatever reason, will experience that in a flesh and blood time, for a short time, as a descriptive because they've done really bad things or something. So I just wanted to address briefly, again by request, how the misunderstanding of the human species being some sort of electric something or other being comes from this, the data transfer and how the process works within the human body. And again, I know most people are going to be like dismissive of this and say, nope, they don't want to accept that because they've been indoctrinated into religions and belief systems, and these things have used, for example, theoretical pseudosciences to support their claims, and that, you know, people will see what they want to see, and they'll find the evidence, real or perceived, to support it, dismissing everything else. That's just the way human beings are, because the human species, individuals within, need to feel like they're more than what they are, and that they're the center of everything. And as I've said in previous videos a while back, yeah, you're the center of everything, but not in the way that people think on this game board called the world. Anyway, I just want to address this, and I don't know what more I can say about this. It's very simple. There's nothing complicated about it. And if you want to accept it, great. If you don't, I couldn't care less. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.
They built a section of wall using Iron Age techniques. Then they piled it high with timber and set it ablaze. The fire burned for 22 hours. The team fed it constantly with fresh wood.
Within minutes of the fire being lit, the wood stacked on the outside is well alight. weary helpers begin to realize the true extent of the mystery of the vitrified forts. To wonder not only how the fort builders could achieve the searing temperatures needed to melt the rock, but how they managed to drag vast quantities of wood up to the hilltops with only primitive transport. 22 hours after the fire was first lit, it's time to demolish the wall and see whether the stones at its core have melted. At first sight, the result looks disappointing. There are no ramparts of fused stone.
Listen to this and write it down if you can't remember it. You're never going to outgrow warfare. You simply must learn to fight. I hear people saying to me, oh, when is it going to get easier? When we die.